I'm Tasha.
And I'm Fallon.
And together, we're the hosts of No Roadmap with Tasha and Fallon.
It's a podcast where two black women have real, random talks.
We cover everything from hobbies to relationships, pop culture, and social issues.
We don't shy away from the tough conversations, but we also like to have fun and be ourselves.
So join us every other Thursday as we share our thoughts, stories, and experiences.
You never know where the conversation might take us, but we promise it'll be worth it.
No roadmap, just real random talk.
So what do you say, Tasha? Are you ready to hit record and get started?
Let's do it, Fallon. Let's give the people what they want. Hello, and welcome to another fabulous episode of No Roadmap with Tasha and Fallon. I'm Tasha.
I'm Fallon.
And today's topic is forgiveness. Why is it important, or for some people, apparently, why they couldn't give a fat frog's fanny about forgiveness?
Well,
discuss.
I guess it depends on the situation. It depends on who the person is. I'm more likely to forget than forgive.
So you're more likely to forget that you were offended by something?
Forget what it was.
Forget what prompted the need for forgiveness.
Right.
Okay.
And then I just move on.
And what does moving on look like?
I don't think about it.
You don't think about it, but the person who offended you, do you still talk to them or engage with them? Oh, yes. That's the laugh of a good story. Okay, bring it.
So, there's so many situations where something will happen, you do something wrong to me, my body remembers, but my mind doesn't, because my mind has other things to think about, like old jingles. So I push.
Old jingles are very important. Let me just put that out there right now. If you can't recall a commercial from 1984,
right.
If you can't recall the big red commercial from 1984, we got issues. Yes, kiss a little longer.
Or the Wyler's commercial.
Yes.
And that juice tasted like cough medicine. I don't know why we drank it, but that was a cool...
Conditioned. Conditioned to drink it. But anyway, so your body forgets.
No, my body remembers.
Your body remembers, but your mind forgets.
Yes, so I'll be around a person.
And you'll feel a certain
way. And I'll
feel,
I'm like, ooh, and it sits wrong in my soul. But I can't remember why I was angry. I just know that I'm still angry.
Ooh, interesting.
So would I get rid of that feeling if I actually forgave the person? Would that relieve?
Well, the only way to test that theory
is to actually forgive.
Is there a reason? I mean, you just
said...
How
do you forgive someone? Let's start there. I don't know if I actually know how to forgive someone who's wronged me. What does that look like?
Interesting. That is a very good question. What does forgiveness look like? Well, I think forgiveness is different things to different people.
Okay.
But for me, when I forgive someone for a perceived wrong to me, I think I need to talk about it and clear it out of my consciousness.
Okay.
Because if I don't, then it stays. Like, I always feel like there's something I want to say when I'm around them. So that oftentimes will creep into my interactions with them because I'm sitting there and I'm talking to them. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I really would like to say this to you because you made me feel this way on this day when you did that.
Okay.
Right. So I have to talk about it. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is we don't have to agree always, but we have to come to a mutual understanding.
Okay.
So it's not just talking about it. It's not just the communication of it. Excuse me. It's the comprehending of the feelings that were evoked and why I feel the way I feel and why you maybe felt the way you felt and did what you did and blah, blah, blah. And then once we get all of that out of the way, if I say to you, okay, thank you, and I forgive you, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm forgetting what you've done, but it does mean I'm no longer living in that moment.
Okay.
So now, when we're together, I'm not thinking about the thing that happened that brought me to the place where the forgiveness was needed.
Okay.
I'm trying to always stay present.
All right.
For some people, that may not necessarily be the case. It may be, I'm going to forgive you for what you did, but I'm also not going to let you forget that you did what you did.
But is that really forgiveness?
To them, it is.
Nah.
Not to me. To me, I feel like if we've had some sort of not a miscommunication, like some sort of a fallout,
right?
And we talk about it, and I say I forgive you, then I'm moving on.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna stay in that place.
Okay.
That's what forgiveness looks like to me.
All right. So I have 3 situations in my head, all revolving around the theater because
that's where the drama is.
Of course.
No pun intended.
So I have what I think is the forgiveness, the not forgiveness, and the transformation. I'll call this last one.
Okay.
So the first one, love this person to death. They cheesed me off by calling me out for something they did all the time. I asked...
hypocrisy.
Right.
Okay.
I asked to be let out for a show, and I never ask for these things.
Meaning not to perform.
Right. Okay. If I'm committed to a show... You're
committed.
I'm committed. Yeah. This is it. But I had a family member ask me to do something that is a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Right.
And I was like, that's family. Now,
and it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Right. I'm person number 3 on the left.
That's your role.
Right.
Okay.
I've got maybe one line.
Okay.
That I can easily hand off to someone else. I am not vital to this show. I'm there for color.
Literally.
Now this person has done the same thing, but reamed me out. Because how dare you come and commit to this and then...
What was this person's role in the show?
Director.
Okay.
But as an actor in a show has done the same thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I'm like, but why is it okay for you? And I was livid for a long time. But then I realized I like them too much to let that sit.
Right.
And so
sometimes that makes a difference.
Right. It's more important for me to have the relationship that I love with you.
Yes. Than for me to sit in that.
Right. So it doesn't hurt as much as it used to.
Right.
Because at the time it was painful.
Yeah.
But
was it the hypocrisy of it that was painful for you, or was it the lack of understanding?
All of the above.
Okay.
Right. And that I don't get any grace and you get all the grace.
Right.
So that, I believe I forgave that person. We're cool now. We will probably always
Does that person know that they hurt you? Did you have a conversation about it, or was it something you carried around within yourself and had an epiphany and said, you know what?
I think I'm
just going to let it go.
I think I carried it. I'm not calling people out depending... if I have a chance...
You see the dubiousness in my face, right? When you said I'm not the calling people girl.
It's got to be instantaneous. If I don't call you out
in that moment.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
Because then I have time to build up things and then I don't want to do it because, I've got ammunition. So then the second situation was, the next 2 situations were all during the 2016, 2020... George Floyd,
that whole political era.
Right.
Yes.
Being a black person in the world, almost specifically in theater.
Right.
And I had one person who, again, knew this person from the theater, regularly interact with each other, and it was a constant digging at me. And digging at being a black person and the black experience when it got to the point where their children were calling them out.
Their children were calling them out for them digging on you.
Right. On my Facebook.
On your Facebook. Ooh. Oh, okay. So this is all like social media kind of.
Okay. Yes. And I've known you forever. You've been to my wedding.
Right.
And this is how you feel about black people. And this is how you feel about me.
Yeah.
And so, but now I see that person all the time. And I go,
You currently see them.
I currently see them. Right. And I go, And I talk to their spouse, whom I still love. And, talk to, and we're really cool. And you get the because no, I see you now.
Yeah.
And you don't get, because I think I deserve an apology. And if you're not going to give it to me,
do they know that you believe you deserve an apology?
Why wouldn't they?
Because some people just don't. Sometimes, listen, some people are so oblivious. Words fail me. Thank God for Mr. Ellis. Sometimes people are so oblivious of their offense that they don't know that they, I don't know. It happens. Sometimes you have to turn to people and be like, hey, that wasn't cool what you said or what you did. Or
at this point, I'll let them sit in their stupidity.
Because it's been at least
3 7 years minimum.
Okay.
3 to 5 years.
Right. Okay.
So, whatever. You are on my I don't love list. Moving on.
But do they know that you don't love them? Like, is it obvious that you don't F with them no more?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Like, oh, hi. You know what I mean.
I sure do. It's that side eye. It's the side eye.
Anyway.
That's always followed by the anyway.
Now, the last situation.
This is the transition.
Yes, this is a transition. This person, in their ignorance, I think it was well-meaning ignorance. It was the same situation where, that same time period, and they said some things that were not racist, but super oblivious. Mm-hmm. Like, the most ridiculous. And then they took a beat. Mm-hmm. And realized that they
caught themselves.
Yes.
I love it when you catch yourself. That's great. That to me shows self-awareness and growth.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they gave me a really big apology.
Okay.
And then one night, this person and I were at their house and we drank like 5 bottles of wine and we talked about it.
And you lived to tell the tale after drinking 5 bottles of wine.
With 2 people.
Okay.
It was 2 people. It's fine. We lived. I think it was 5. It might have been 3. It was a lot.
Red, white, I'm curious. Irrelevant to the... Oh, girl. A headache. I just got a headache just listening to the story.
But
y'all are good now.
Yes.
Is an apology important to you?
Yes.
Is it? Why is that?
That shows that you realize that you messed up and you're working on doing better. Now, recently I had a family interaction and I was the one who was wrong. Mm-hmm. I lost my temper. Mm-hmm. I was cussing and I should not have been cussing because this person did not deserve that. Right. And I immediately apologized. And I felt horrible. Yeah. And so, like, it was so quick in my mind. It was like, I did wrong. And then...
almost immediately following the situation, you felt like...
Right. Okay. It was immediate. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. You did not deserve that. Right. I should have done better. I should have known better. Mm-hmm. And I apologize. But I don't even know, 17, 18-year-olds, what are their... I don't even know what their generation is. But I got accused
of... the Gen Zs?
I guess. I got accused of giving a TikTok apology, and I don't know what that is.
Oh, I don't know what a TikTok apology is.
We looked it up, and we couldn't figure out because it doesn't say. But
who accused you of giving a TikTok apology?
The person I apologized to. That my apology wasn't good enough. Oh. And that it was a TikTok apology. But I don't even know what else I could have said. Right. Other than... like it was disingenuous? I guess.
Kind of thing?
Maybe. But what else can I say? I'm going to have to
ask the girl, because I don't know what that means.
Right. Yeah. Except I was wrong. Right. I apologize. Yes. You have every right to feel angry and pissed at me.
Of course.
And I'm sorry.
You acknowledge you held yourself accountable. Right. What more is there to an apology?
Right. Right. So I just moved on.
Okay. And that's all you can do.
That's all I can do at this point. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if... I would like to say an apology... listen, I will never turn down an apology from anyone. For anything. Short of like death. Like murder. But I would like to say I'm big enough and evolved enough that I don't care about the apology when it comes to forgiveness, because people will always say the forgiveness is for you. It's not for the person you're forgiving, right? So I'm like, I don't care if they apologize or if they even acknowledge it, because I'm not doing it for them. But that's a lie. I'm like you. Like, I think I do want to hear the words. Right. I want to hear the words because it has taken me a really long time, I think, much longer than it should have, to learn how to let pride go and relax my ego enough to admit that I'm wrong to people. And I think it depends on the person. Right. And apologize. And one of the things that my husband used to say to me when we would argue is, you never say you're sorry. Mm-hmm. And I'm always like, so what? I wasn't wrong. When I could be wrong dead to right. And I'm like, It took me a really long time to be comfortable and apologizing to him. And I don't know what it was about my relationship with him specifically. Right. Like, I'm quick to say I'm sorry to other people, but to my husband for a while, it was really hard for me to be like, I apologize. I didn't mean to hurt. It was never my intention to hurt you, or I stepped out of line, or... Dude, those words would just get lost between my esophagus and my tongue, and it just couldn't get it out.
I'm more likely to say that I'm wrong than I'm sorry.
Do you feel like the I'm sorry is implied in the admittance of being wrong?
I think so. I hope so.
Okay. I mean, sometimes people are wrong, but they don't care.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done that. Oops. It's a very sarcastic my bad. Yes, sometimes that my bad, listen, we're actors. It's all about the intention behind the words, right? So how many times has someone said to you my bad and you were like, tried it, you don't really believe that.
Oh, but all these things I was just reading, I get this email from the guy who he wrote a couple of books. Something about cussing. I can't remember. I'll put it in the show notes when I remember. Mark Manson is his name. And it was a whole thing. And it came out of nowhere. Where it was like, you need to forgive, like, your parents. Because holding on to that is not good for you.
Right.
And I'm like, well, hey, how do you know my relationship with my parents? And B, how do you? Like...
How do you let go of those childhood traumas?
Right.
Ooh, that is a really good question. Yes, we've been talking, my daughter and I have been talking about that ad nauseum. We've been talking about it constantly for like the last maybe 6 or 7 weeks. Just talking about like things that happened when she was younger and the role that I played and the things that she did and her dynamic with her dad. And I don't know how one forgives. Other than to say, I forgive. Or maybe to relate to your parents then. Like, there were things that happened in my childhood I think I forgot about until people started mentioning things. And I was like, oh, yeah, I do remember that. Okay, yeah. But I think for me, when it came to... Because I had a cool relationship with my dad, but we were not close. My dad was an absentee father. I really think the Temptations wrote Papa was a Rolling Stone for my dad. Yep. Because he was rolling. And
wherever he lay was his home.
That part, just ask the 4 women of his children. So I think it took a really long time for me to get to a point where I no longer held on to the animosity I felt toward him. And admittedly, it wasn't a lot of animosity. But there were times when I would think back to situations where he could have been more helpful to my mother or he could have been more helpful to me just to alleviate that strife. Right. And he made conscious choices not to be. Yes. And it took me a really long time to just be like, but I'm okay with that now because I'm no worse for the wear. Yes. I've become what I think is a relatively productive member of society. So... It took me a really long time to learn how to just kind of let that stay where it is and try not to dwell on it, especially before he passed. Right. I really had to come to terms with that. I don't think I would have been able to get through his passing. As far as my mom is concerned, I think once I started to relate to her as a mother, it was easier for me to forgive some things that I felt may have been, offensive to me as a child. But I think once you can relate to someone, it's a little easier to forgive their choices. Right.
But in my instance, my father apologizes to me for things that I don't even think about.
Right. Think you blocked it out?
No, they happened, but it didn't affect me to the point where I wasn't carrying around anything that he needed to apologize for.
Maybe it affected him.
It did. It probably did. And so that's completely different where my mom doesn't acknowledge anything that really happened. And now me raising my own child is triggering the old memories of what she would have done in that situation. Right. And stresses me out, which makes my present situation worse. Right. And so would forgiving her make my situation better? No, because I still have that.
Have you never had a conversation?
Nope. No. She pretends it doesn't happen.
Oh, so then you probably will never have a conversation.
I'll probably never have that conversation with her.
Is it possible for you to wrap your mind around the fact that that conversation may never happen and you need to, or maybe you could, not you need to, but you could move on regardless?
Oh, I would need so much therapy. So
Are you in therapy?
I was, and then I wasn't. So if anybody wants to sponsor us, BetterHelp.
BetterHelp has like 14 podcasts I listen to. They're sponsoring.
True story. Hook us up. I'm not sure if talking about it is going to... There's a lot more work than just talking about it. There's got to be, actual functional things I'm going to have to do to get over that.
Has it affected your current relationship with mom?
I take care of her.
Right.
If she needs me, I'm there.
Right.
But we're not close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you ever?
I think when I was younger, we were a lot closer.
Mm-hmm.
She was very involved in my schooling and was there for everything. But also that was the same time as everything was happening. So I don't know if it was, I don't know. Mm-hmm. A lot of it was survival.
Gotcha.
And
for you?
For me.
For her?
Maybe for her. Probably for her.
Okay.
She's doing a good job and she's seeing someone, and I think that's great. So things might change, but I'm not expecting it.
Okay. But do you think having a conversation about it could improve your relationship?
I don't know. Do I want it improved? I think.
Do you want it improved?
I think it's fine.
No, you're happy with. Okay. Yeah. Have you ever forgiven someone for the sake of getting along?
No.
No. Would you forgive someone for the sake of getting along?
It depends on how close they are to me and what was required of our interaction.
Okay.
Like that first friend,
mm-hmm.
I see them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was more beneficial for me to
forgive and let go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To move on.
Yeah.
The second person, it doesn't matter.
I have a situation. Second person is a non-factor. How about that? Jesus. We have a situation currently where, well, actually, I guess it's not as bad as it once was. But we had family members who weren't speaking, and amends have been tried to been made between the two. But I still feel like A and B could talk more if they both relax their pride.
Right.
I still feel like they're kind of, we're going to forgive and move on, but I'm always going to wait for you to make that first move.
Right.
And to me, it's like, again, I go back to the whole forgiveness is forgiveness is forgiveness. If I'm forgiving you, I'm forgiving you. So I'm not holding you to any expectations. Right. Do you have to relax your expectations in order to forgive someone? Do you think?
I think so. There's got to be a little release there, because in forgiving, you're vulnerable. Mm-hmm. You're opening yourself up to say, well, you hurt me, and I'm going to allow that hurt to sit,
right,
and not dwell on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very vulnerable place to be.
Right.
Because no one wants to be hurt. No one wants to.
No, not at all.
But in order to be free of it, you got to sit with it for a little while.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Well, listen, that's where the work comes in, right?
Right?
I mean, you have to do the work. I think for me, I've been able to forgive people for what I've considered to be transgressions against me, mm-hmm. but love them from afar.
Okay.
Like I read this, I'm in a current relationship with my cousin-in-law now, because we had an understanding. But prior to us sitting down last year mm-hmm. and sort of agreeing to wipe the slate clean, we didn't speak for 6 years.
Wow.
No, not that we didn't speak. We spoke. Like if I saw her, it was hi and bye. It was always very surface conversation.
Right.
But I had said to her when we had our falling out the 6 years before that I love you. I wish nothing but the best for you, but I'm going to love you from afar.
Right.
Because we kept finding ourselves in this situation where we kept having this strife. And it was never really about the two of us so mm-hmm. much as it was about other people in the family.
Right.
Or friends, just outside sources. It wasn't really about the two of us. We were okay personally, but she would have a falling out with my mother or right. whatever it was, and so it had just gotten to a point where I was just kind of sick of being in that space. Mm-hmm. So when we had our conversation relative to the latest blow up, I had said to her in that moment, I did sincerely. I loved her. I enjoyed her company whenever we were together, but I was so sick of being in that kind of a situation. Right. That for me, it was easier for me to protect myself. Yes. If I love you, thank you so much for explaining yourself. I forgive you. She forgave me for what she considered to be her perceived transgression.
Right.
And I said, but I have to love you from here. because I can't keep going through this. And then 6 years went by and we had some family losses. COVID came. We were losing people left and right. You know, it's nothing like a pandemic to show you how small the world is and how precious life is.
Yes.
And we just happened to be at a family function at the same time. And she came up to me and she was like, I know this is not the time or place, but I swore to myself if I saw you here that I would have a conversation with you. And she was like, look, I shouldn't have done what I did. 6 years later, having some time and some distance from it, I realized that the way I handled it was not proper. I'm sorry I hurt you. I miss you. I want to be around you. And my thing to her is, okay, cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I really did. Like, I appreciate it. It was so, to me, it felt very heartfelt. So we're going to try it again. Okay. But this is it. Right? Like Michael Jackson. No. Kenny Loggins. Yes,
but there is a this. But I don't know the MJ one well enough.
Well, yes, the MJ. It was his last tour before he died. Yeah, that's what it was called. It was the This Is It tour because this is supposed to be his last.
Yeah.
Right, but like the Kenny Loggins song, This Is It, right? And I was like, if it doesn't work after this, and she was like, you're right. If it doesn't work after this, we don't need to be around each other. I'm like, all right, cool. So now we're at a place where we're much better. Than we were. She's a lot more self-aware. I feel like I'm a lot more self-aware. And in that moment, I felt good about it. But prior to that, I felt good about it because I felt like I had forgiven her.
Right.
And was just like, look, I love you, but from over there.
Right.
And there have been times when things have happened in the family where it's like, all right, I'm going to let it go for the sake of this person, there were issues where me and my husband and his ex-wife would have a falling out. Right. But for the sake of my son, my bonus son, it's like, look, we're going to let it be what it is. I guess that's what I mean when I say, have you ever forgiven for the sake of forgiveness? Where it's not someone you necessarily want to have a relationship with, but that for the sake of your situation.
No. I don't have people. Like, if you're in my circle, it's because you matter to me and you're important to me. Yeah. What about, I don't know, secondhand forgiveness?
What is that? What is secondhand forgiveness?
So, you didn't directly wrong me, but you wronged someone in my circle. And so, how do I deal with you and what you've done?
Do you take on offenses of the people you hold near and dear personally?
It depends. If something...
So give me an example of some time where you've had to do a secondhand forgiveness.
So, without giving too much away, I had friends and we all hung out together. We all did the things together. And then there was an indiscretion by one in the friend group against another person in the friend group. So, A, B, and C and all of us are hanging out. A and C are really good friends, and then C screws over A in
in a major way.
In a major way, like don't poop where you eat kind of way. And destroyed, like blew up everything that we had.
Right.
Like it no longer exists, and that hit me because that trickled down to a lot more people
than just A and C.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so. Not that I've totally pulled away, I don't see them in person, but they still are on social media, and I don't actively reach out to them. I don't actively interact with them. They comment on my stuff, but for the most part...
Now, do you not actively engage because of you're acting on behalf of your friend, or you don't actively engage because...
I don't know if we were that close to begin with, that it was worth it for me to stick with, but also, A is my friend, like that's it was a stronger bond there.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't want A to feel like I'm
betraying them.
Right. Right. But in terms of family, like I've had family members who weren't talking, but I love you both and I'm going to talk to.
Right.
Because
I love you both. And
right. I hope you two
whatever this is, I hope you can get through it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in that situation, I'm more of let it work itself out. I'm not going to choose sides.
Right.
You guys just need to talk to each other.
Yeah.
In the first situation, I chose a side. And I stick by it.
So there's no chance of you forgiving the offender? in that
Do I
situation.
even have to forgive the offender because they didn't directly offend me?
Well, it sounds like you do if you're choosing distance.
Yeah.
Right? So the offense may not have been toward you directly, but you are feeling some impact of it.
Yes.
Obviously. So, yeah, I would say in order for that to move forward.
Do I want it to move forward?
That's the main question, do you? Because sometimes you don't.
I know, it doesn't.
Sometimes it's like, no, I'm good where I am. Yeah. Thank you.
What's gone is gone.
Yeah.
And we rebuild something new. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to scorch earth it.
Sometimes you got to scorch earth.
Right.
Sometimes you just do, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
You know, I've been involved in friendships. I had a friendship where it started off really strongly, and then we had a falling out over a dude, not my dude, her dude, and just not me wanting to be a part of the nonsense, right? And then a few months later, I was feeling nostalgic and was like, let me call her, and I called her, and we rekindled the friendship, and then, 7 months later, we had a falling out over the dude, her dude, not my dude. Same dude. Again? Same guy.
What is happening?
Same dude who was just a narcissistic butthole. But anywho. And then we didn't speak for like 6 or 7 months.
Right.
And then she called me on, some contrition-ish. And I was like, okay, cool. And we rekindled a friendship. And then we were friends for a few years. So that was good, right? Because we went from being friends for like 8 months in a fallout, 10 months in a fallout, to being really good for like 2.5 years.
Why would you restart so many times?
Right.
That's exhausting.
That is the point, right?
I'm exhausted just thinking about it.
Right? So like 2.5 years, we were good. And then we had a falling out. This time not over a dude. This time over just ego stuff. And, but we still have a mutual friend who, again, I don't ever want to put someone in a position where they feel like they have to choose.
Right.
You don't have to choose. We can be mutually exclusive friends, and that's cool. I'm good with that. I don't need to do things with you and her, and she doesn't need to do things with you and me. So I was good with that. But the question came about recently where it was like, remember that time when y'all were friends and then y'all had a falling out, and then y'all were friends again and y'all had a falling out, and then y'all were friends again and then you had the last falling out?
Stop it.
And I was like, yes, I remember. And they were like, hey, if she comes back around.
Who is giving you the business?
First of all, what you won't do is call me out on my nonsense. Okay? Nobody asked you, mind your business.
Let me be ridiculous.
Let me live over here in my moment of ridiculousness. But I feel like when I forgave, or when we forgave each other, although I really didn't do anything to her. It really wasn't me.
And even if you did, even if you weren't going to say you're sorry. It doesn't matter.
I would have. I absolutely would have. No asterisk. You tried it. No asterisk. I really, if I felt like I was really like out of line, out of pocket, I definitely would have apologized. But and I can't even say that there was anything done wrong to me other than this expectation that I was going to continue to be a spectator in this train wreck you were involved in. I think that was the biggest wrong that was done to me, was you kind of bestowed this expectation on me that you expected me to kind of continue to be a party to this, and I'm not going to do that.
Right.
So the first 2 times it was like, no. So it was just like, I need space. Yes. I got to get away from this because this is just toxic.
Yes.
But this last time, it's a little deeper than that because it's really about her and me this time. Right. It's not about this third thing. So I really don't count the other 2 times, even though I know your face is like...
We need to move this to video because the eye rolls and the eyebrow shifts matter.
The shade that is coming from across this table.
Few degrees cooler.
I think the mics picked up the eye roll.
You think, yes.
The mic picked up the eye roll because it's so hard. The eye rolls
are so hard. She's just like, bye. I don't count the first 2 because it really wasn't about her and me. Right. It was really just about her situation. Yes. But this one is really about the 2 of us. So it's like, I guess I don't really know where I would go.
Okay.
At this point.
But growth. I see that.
Growth, right? Like,
I appreciate you being so self-aware.
Thank you, because it's been a whole year and a half. almost a whole year and a half since the falling out, and I haven't picked up the phone once. And
Good
I feel
for
like
you.
to me that's like, all right, girl,
Good for you.
you're identifying where the problems are, and you're trying not to engage with them. Thank you, bye.
So this is gonna be the most random segue. The person I think I apologize the most to is my dad.
Yeah.
Because he tells me to watch all the things, and then I have to apologize for not watching the things.
Look at that.
Which is going into
What are you watching? Well, you don't think that was a great segue, mistress of segues, but I'm gonna say smooth, just like silk.
So my dad, we were watching TV because he's always watching TV, and it popped up like Interstellar, and I was like, oh man, I still haven't seen that movie. And not only was it my father who always gives me the business about what I didn't watch, my little sister.
Come on,
And
sis.
she and I don't watch the same things. And she's like, you didn't see this movie? And I'm like, oh my God.
Wait, Interstellar.
With Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
And Michael Caine.
Okay.
And Hathaway. And
Anne. Okay.
When I tell you this movie was 3 hours long.
Did you watch it?
Woohoo. The only reason why I was able to watch it because I was on a cross-country flight. And I had nowhere else to be.
Where were you going?
You know what? Don't snitch on me. Cross-country flight.
Okay.
The United States.
Okay. See, this is where the camera. You gotta show the eye wink.
I get it.
Okay, so you watched it on your intracontinental flight, and what'd you think?
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
So Papa knows.
It was devastating to me in a certain, like, to the point where I had to pause it. I was like, I couldn't imagine seeing this in the theater.
Yeah.
And being so overwhelmed by some of the emotions I was having.
Wow.
But one thing we started watching it at my dad's house, and I told the husband, 5 minutes in, I was like, oh, this is this and that is that. And he's like, what? And I'm like, when I get to that part, and I'm going to say, I was right. He was like, I'm so mad at you because I was right.
I've gotten so terrible at watching TV shows and movies that, yes, like within the first 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, that's the bad guy.
Yeah.
That's who did it. Especially sometimes when you're watching episodic television and you see a guest star and I'm like,
oh, that's it.
You're it.
Well, definitely shows like Motive. The Canadian, it was like Canadian crime drama.
Right.
And at the beginning of every episode, they showed you who the victim was.
Yes. And who the offender was.
And then the story is trying to figure out how it interconnects.
Yes. See, I would prefer so that. Cool. That to me is smarter.
Yes.
Than trying to disguise who done it. Because I know who done it.
Right. But please watch because you're like, how does this work out? It's
like Motive. Okay.
Canadian drama. Canadian drama. The Canadians are up there doing it.
They are. I'm about to move to Canada. Get me an agent.
Montreal.
That part.
I love Montreal.
And try to get me some work, boo.
In Vancouver, where that longshoreman tried to take me on his motorcycle.
Come on, longshoreman on a motorcycle?
Yeah. At karaoke. It was like everything.
Oh my gosh. All the things.
And he bought all the drinks. Hi, Doug, if you listen. I know you're not listening to this, but you were cool people.
He could be. You don't know what Doug is doing. You don't know Doug's life. Doug, you watching? What's up, Doug? Holla. What am I watching? I'm watching nothing. I went to Vegas after Thanksgiving, and on the flight there, I watched Shotgun Wedding because I just needed mindless television.
Ooh, that is so mindless.
Yes, with J-Lo.
I can't.
And Josh Duhamel.
Oh my
which,
gosh.
by the way, is never hard to watch.
No.
Thank you, Josh Duhamel. So no, I don't recommend you watch it because like I said, 5 minutes and I was like, oh, that's the bad guy.
Right.
Oh, that's going to be the culprit. Watch. And shooting.
Yep.
I'm like, I knew it.
You know it. So are we going to Vegas? Have you decided?
I cannot go back to Vegas.
Yes, you can. It'll be fine. Sarge.
Thank you. I know. I'm like,
she's giving up.
I'm like, screw it.
You know, I actually
had to the wind.
I had to learn to spell Sarge for something because I was typing it in.
S-A-R-G-E?
Like, yeah, but Sergeant isn't spelled that way.
No, it's S-E-R-G.
What in the English language?
I know, that part. So, yes, I know. Isn't that bananas? Where did it come from?
Just throw it in there.
Like we do sometimes. So,
do you even know how to spell refrigerator? I don't even know. I'm the worst speller.
R-E.
Nope, don't even.
F-R-I-G-E-R-A-T-O-R. Refrigerator.
I have no idea.
Damn it.
I can't even tell you if it's right because I can't spell. I know a lot of big words. Can't spell any of them.
That part. Can't even sound them out. But anyway.
Whatever.
Vegas, maybe.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it.
How about y'all?
What are you watching?
Yeah, what?
First of all.
What are you watching?
Yes.
We need more ideas.
We do.
Next, who are you forgiving? Who are you not forgiving?
And why?
Do you even know what forgiveness is? Mm-hmm. Give us more definitions because we are making it up as we go along.
That part. Like we do most things in life.
All the time. That's why we're called
No Roadmap with Tasha and Fallon. And on that note, thank you all so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to follow us on IG on No Roadmap Pod. And find us on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes.
On Amazon. YouTube now.
Yay, YouTube. Woo-hoo. Okay, great. Thank you. And until next time, don't be a jerk. Thank you for listening to No Roadmap with Tasha and Fallon. Follow us on IG at No Roadmap Pod. Send us your questions, ideas, and reactions. Tell us all the things because we're going to tell you all the things. Until next time, bye.